Hare Krishna. Oh, we're back. Krishna.
A, B, and B.
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. We'll take a little softer. Okay. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. All right, and now we'll chant a little kind of japa japa. What do with this beat here? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh,
Mm.
oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Oh oh my Lord, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Chaitanya Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Oh my Lord. Oh, oh, oh. Hare Krishna, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Nityananda Nityananda Gauranga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. I'll jump here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Oh my Lord Krishna, oh my Lord Krishna, oh my Lord Krishna. Oh Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, All right, we'll read a little bit now, maybe. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Thanks for using.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Let's see here. We're reading The Liberation of Sarvabhauma. No, actually, I'm going to read through first. I always like this story. Lord's entrance into Dwarka. Entrance into Lord Krishna's departure. Okay, Lord Krishna's departure for Dwarka. Sanaka Muni said, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Sanaka Muni asked, Sanaka Muni asked, let's make sure everything's cool here. Everything going, everybody used to. Yeah. Sanaka Muni asked, after killing his enemies who desired to usurp his rightful inheritance, how did the greatest of all religious men, Maharaj Yudhisthira, assisted by his brothers, rule his subjects? Surely he could not freely enjoy his kingdom with unrestricted consciousness. Sutta Goswami said, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the maintainer of all the world, the main, who is the maintainer of the world. I'm kind of waiting for this FedEx. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the maintainer of the world, became pleased after re-establishing Maharaj Yudhisthira in his own kingdom, and after restoring the Kuru dynasty, which has been exhausted by the bamboo fire of anger. So, Lord Krishna is actually the maintainer of the world and the universe and the universes. See, and um, yeah, here, get into that later, I guess. Maybe. Let's see. Became pleased after re-establishing Maharaj Yudhisthira in his own kingdom, and after restoring the Kuru dynasty, which had been exhausted by the bamboo fire of anger. Maharaj Yudhisthira, after being enlightened by which was spoken by Bhishma Dev and Lord Sri Krishna, the infallible engaged himself in matters of perfect knowledge, because all his misgivings were eradicated. Thus he ruled over the earth and seas and was followed by his younger brothers. So Maharaj Yudhisthira, after being enlightened by which was spoken by Bhishma Dev and Lord Krishna, the infallible engaged himself, the infallible, Lord Krishna is the infallible. Okay, engaged himself in matters of perfect knowledge because all his misgivings were eradicated. See, perfect knowledge. That's basically, it's very relevant to now. When you hear from a self-realized soul, like he heard from Bhishma Dev and Lord Krishna, about perfect knowledge, what the world is really about. See, so he was able to um, not engage. He could engage in matters of perfect knowledge. So perfect knowledge is Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing the pastimes of the Lord. This is perfect knowledge. This is the perfect activity. You can't get a more perfect activity. This has the highest wealth you can ever um, attain, actually, is just through hearing the truth. See, the truth sets people free from all these lower engagements in the world. Whether one is a demon or a demigod, they're the rulers of the world. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes the demons are in charge, and sometimes the demigods. See, they're ruling the earth, and they're always fighting each other. It's always a struggle. See, but they're not engaged in perfect knowledge. If you hear from a self-realized soul, like Maharaj Yudhisthira heard from Bhishma, then he said, "Oh, okay, this stuff is going on. Let's go engage in matters of understanding the absolute truth as it is." See, Srimad Bhagavatam is all about that. It tells you that how the demons are sometimes in control, and then and and how the demigods are sometimes in control, and there's these cycles. Sometimes things are being destroyed. In society, in the world, societies and what do you call these civilizations? They go through a creation phase, and a maintenance phase, and a destruction phase. See, all these subjects are right there in the Bhagavatam. See, they're taught. And so then, if you understand that, like now we understand, okay, we're in a destructive phase, even though it appears that like these persons are acting independently, they're really not. Everything is controlled and owned by the Lord. See, Upanishads. That's perfect knowledge. Everything is controlled and owned by the Lord. Okay? So one should just accept what their portion is. But most people, they don't know. They're not engaged in perfect knowledge. Therefore, their action has fruit of result. The action and reaction within the material modes of nature. See? So there's nothing, you know. So a person engaged in perfect knowledge is, oh well, everybody's going to be subject to their actions and reactions, whether they're in goodness or passion or ignorance. The world is acting uniformly, according to the modes that are prompting each individual. A person who is a demon, they want excessive control. They have uncontrollable hankering. That's their nature, and they're going to act like that. See, person in more the mode of goodness, they're going to act more disciplined, more truthful. Not exactly perfectly truthful because they don't have perfect knowledge. Perfect knowledge is Bhagavatam, man. Perfect knowledge, it tells you what's going on in the world and how you can, when you see that the world is controlled and owned by the Lord, then you can engage in higher work, and that gives you a better, a happier result, actually. Yeah. So anyway, the Bhagavatam and this perfect knowledge is fantastic. And like chanting the holy name, it actually you get purified, then you become more qualified to understand this perfect knowledge too. So any questions, let me know. Make some comments here. Let's have a discussion. Otherwise, I'll have to ask the questions. Oh, that's okay too. If you have questions. So yeah. Ask questions. What kind of questions? Yeah. So the question is, okay, there's all this higher knowledge. How come not everybody's attracted to it and listening to this higher knowledge? Yeah. Yeah. Well, they don't have faith in it. A lot of times, even people that are, um, they have these like Srimad Bhagavatam, they're still not interested in hearing it properly from a person who's realized this knowledge, this information. Yeah. Um, so many people are attracted to the lesser. See? So that's why the devotees, self-realized devotees, they roam, they roam the universe actually, universes, universes, to distribute this higher knowledge. Because if people do it, they can let go gradually or quickly, depends on them, of their lesser engagements. Lesser engagements give you not as much happiness as this. Even austerity, like what we're distributing, what we're sharing with the world, you can go on a big yogi program of austerity and tough meditations and big disciplines and big mantra yoga and big lakhs of chanting. You can do all these difficult things. See? But that'll be a lot harder than here because we are engaged in this perfect knowledge. Perfect knowledge is better than even uh, what was ascertained in the Bhagavatam because Lord Chaitanya made it even more clear. See? Lord Chaitanya came and made things even easier. In our line here, especially now, this ecstatic devotion is distributed very easily without a lot of troubles. The only troubles is what you carry, the load you carry, and that is gradually or quickly chipped away, so you can enjoy more of this perfect knowledge and perfect ecstasy. What else could there be, except perfect knowledge and perfect ecstatic happiness? Isn't that what makes the world? Aren't people seeking knowledge in the world that they want to know everything? And those are, that's that pursuit, philosophy, and all of this kind of thing. And aren't they trying to become the most happy as they can be? See, but they'll never reach perfect knowledge and perfect happiness or emotional feeling because everything in the world is mundane and limited. So everybody's seeking this love and this happy love and happiness in all the wrong places, like that song, seeking love in all the wrong places, and seeking knowledge in all the wrong places. Seeking mundane knowledge, mundane information, and you know, it doesn't compare to what devotees understand by perfect knowledge and have the perfect ecstasy that increases more and more all the time. Any comments or questions, or do I have to ask? That was a good question, Gohari. Thanks for asking. Uh, uh. So during the reign of Maharaj Yudhisthira, the clouds showered all the water that people needed, and the earth produced all the necessities of men in profusion. Due to its fatty milk bags and cheerful attitude, the cow used to moisten the grazing ground with milk. Now that's a really nice point. You see, this is um, to do with leadership. Okay, when you have a leader like Mars Yudhisthira, see, he heard perfect knowledge from a pure devotee, that was Bhishma and Krishna, pure realized souls, and so he acted in according to that knowledge, and automatically everything was better. Everything would be auspicious, and for his kingdom as a leader, he could lead properly, and people were blessed and felt blessed. Right? That's why, like, you can see this relevantly, in our world now. You see, we have leaders, right?
Now the leaders, because it's the Asura and the demon class that are the leaders now, more Rakshasas, they lead, but their way of leadership doesn't produce the same kind of leadership produces that Mars Yudhisthira had because he was a devotee. He listened to perfect knowledge from realized souls. And so his life and the life of his subjects became better. And not only better, also even transcendental. Yeah, probably. It depends on the person. He had a big kingdom. You know? See, so everything increases when you hear from a devotee. Your auspiciousness in your life increases. See, so now if you notice, we have the Prabhupada said that the Rakshasas are managing the world, and that's what we're seeing. It's a more demoniac leadership. And what do you see? More oppression, see? More restriction, more rules, more government, more crackdowns, more lockdowns, see? More masking, more all kinds of stuff, more death, more maiming, see? More destruction. See, so that's under that kind of leader. It's just, I mean, it's just what is. Things are being broken down, and there's a time. Um, see, so those who are under that leadership, they're subject to it. And you can sidestep that a lot just by higher knowledge. By if you're lucky, you get the association of those who hear, who understand this very confidential, transcendental purport of the Bhagavatam. Okay? And then your life, even in the midst of these days, becomes more auspicious because you're not listening. You believe in higher knowledge, in higher truth, and you're not believing in lies because you can see. They call them sheeple, the ones who obey the government now, and the government's screwing them. I mean, that's what that's what they do right now. The Lord is behind all of this and breaking everything down. See, breaking what was down, and then there'll be something new put up on top of that. Um, so that's just what is. When the demigods are here, they rule a bit more fairly, but there's still false ego there, so it's not perfect rulership, but it's better. Feels better. And then there's the Vaishnavas. If you're lucky, like Maharaj Parikshit was yeah, Maharaj Parikshit was a Vaishnava king. He's very realized, even before he met Shukadev. And so was King Yudhisthira. And so were a lot of these kings. King Pandu. Take a dunk in the pool here. Yeah, so you see how this all works? You see how the Bhagavatam perfectly explains relevantly what is going on in this world and what has went on and what goes on again and again and again. See? So even here on a smaller scale, you notice there's leadership here. The leadership is based on spontaneous worship of the Lord. Then the Lord gives the guru insights and revelations. And then he gives you also because you're under this shelter and you take part in this sacrifice and you become like this also, that the Lord gives you revelations and makes your life better because that's just what happens when you hear from devotees who have ecstatic worship of the Lord. Your life becomes more auspicious than many people that followed these gurus. uh, I don't use it to criticize them, and I just keep using it because we need to point this out so people can understand clearly. If there's gurus out there and teachers and leaders, and they're not in the transcendental position, they're not worshiping the Lord on a pure ecstatic love, then the result will not be as auspicious as it would be for those who are in a association under a leader who is a Shuddha Bhakta. I mean, does that make sense? Just common logic. Just, I think a lot of people just don't think about it. They think there's the same result that people that come here as when goes go to those gurus who haven't realized what is being realized here or share what isn't being shared here. So our depth here. So there's going to be a different result. Okay? So people should say, okay, well, how do you know? Okay, a good question would be, well, how do we know that the results of those gurus, many of most of them, all of probably all of them, is lesser? The result for following them would be lesser than here. How do we know? Well, because here are the symptoms of having the transcendental shelter of the Lord. And that's where true auspiciousness begins. Otherwise, it's more or less mundane. Plus, even you can get like some boons and benefits in the mode of goodness or liberation, but that's nothing to having the boons of being under the shelter of Shuddha Bhaktas who worship the Lord with loving ecstasy. And so that's the witness program here. People can see, with their own eyes, like, wow, man, you know, look what these people are getting here. And then you start to understand the scriptures better and what they mean just by, the teachings here and the example here. You see ecstatic devotees that like you read about in Nectar of Devotion and Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Goswami higher leelas. You see that, and then you learn, and your advancement in spiritual consciousness is quickened. There's I just had this image go in my mind. That there was this. If somebody remembers what it is, I just there's a TV series. I forgot the name of it. This TV series. A guy has basically he lives. He's an immortal, and they're and there's some other immortals, and they're fighting each other, and each person they kill, they get a quickening, and they live more years. They have a longer life. Yeah, yeah, like Janaki says, they get a longer life when they kill somebody, right? Okay, when you apply that same principle, because that's basically what happens here, when we kill not people, not bodies, but ignorance. When the more ignorance that we annihilate, we kill, we destroy, we dissipate, see, the more of a quickening of bhakti we get. See, that's why, it's kind of hard to understand how this works because even I sometimes are like, wow, man, why am I so mean sometimes? So like ornery, so such a stickler for things. But then I see the results, and people tell me, "Wow, this is the best class." Today is like really heavy, you know, for some devotees here, and I was naming names, kind of pointing them out and everything, and then I'm thinking, "Boy, this is really, I must have maybe did I make a mistake or what?" Because I was really inspired to share this stuff, but it was heavy, and some people reacted and crying and you know angry and all kinds of stuff. But as the dust all settled, people were saying, "Wow, this is the best class you've ever done." It was 4 hours too. We're all there on our seats listening. And then the person I was, nailing to the cross, afterwards was crying and crying and crying, and then said, "Hey, man, this is the best job you've done." See, so this is the Lord. He inspires his devotees to act. And even though it may seem not always like in the moment the greatest thing, it ends up being, like really the greatest thing. It's just, yeah, it's hard to see that sometimes, but that's happening. Yeah. So the rivers, the oceans, the mountains, the forests, creepers, and active drugs in every season paid their tax quota to the king in profusion. So, I mean, that's what I have found in my own life. And, the more I tell you, this is the most, what we're doing here is so auspicious. It is beyond material auspiciousness. It is so transcendently virtuous, so transcendently auspicious that it's this is the kind of result you see even in your life, in our material lives here. Things just start to flow. People help you. Uh, you don't cause reactions in the world. You pleasantly are taken care of. It's just so amazing how that works. See, so that all comes from this higher knowledge and higher ecstasy. So Mars Yudhisthira got it from Bhishma and Krishna by listening to them. And and so here it's the same thing. You people coming here and listening and getting this and getting purified by this hearing process, their lives become increasingly more fulfilled and juicy and ecstatic and blissful. And you feel this special protection. Yeah, even in these times. I mean, I'm amazed being in these times. This kind of worship gets a result that people usually try to get by working really hard to get it, including the Vaidhi Bhaktas in ISKCON and Gaudiya Math and Gaudiya Smith. They're working very hard to get the result that we get spontaneously, easily, and almost effortlessly. the, the biggest effort that I see is not to get bewildered by your own stuff that's coming up and out. Not grabbing on to the illusions. That's really the biggest challenge is not to grab on to the stuff that's being released. So that's if you follow and pattern your life like Bhagavatam teaches, you hear from a self-realized soul. Self-realized souls have the symptoms of ecstatic worship. They have true, deep, intimate, loving worship of God, of Krishna, of Christ. You know, it produces transformations in their body, in their emotions, in their knowledge. Their knowledge is uncommon. It's excessively clear and logical. See? So how can you not get a better understanding of what life is about by associating with such devotees? Anyway, we're here to offer this kind of association, and you can check by your own result how it works out. Mm. Yeah, so I think that's enough for now. I'm going to save my voice. Maybe I can do another one a little bit later. I feel like okay, well, great, man. That was a nice little excursion. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. Everything is in the Bhagavatam. The what's happening now and the medicine for what's happening now. Everything is relevant. Yeah. Thank you. See, Govinda says yes. Last week had a tent, and now I have a cave with a wood burner and the spiritual rewards. Yeah, exactly. That's how it is. Isn't that amazing? Well, good for you, man. Okay, so Hare Krishna. I'll see you guys a little bit later. Gonna go jump in the pool, cool down. Yeah, I'm already, I just can't wait to start reading again and chanting again. But I guess the voice, gotta, yeah, you always got to just take a little rest. Come back. Hare Krishna, everybody.